Welcome to another edition of Dirty Data here on the fourth period. That's Shane Kelly and Aaron Ward. I'm Dave Pagnotta. And gentlemen, the Detroit Red Wings are playing some pretty good hockey of late, and they've got some guys playing some excellent hockey as part of this squad. Let's dive right in, Wardo, and talk about this team and their early success this season. What's leading to it?
Well, I had the privilege of watching these guys firsthand at the Stanley Cup celebration last weekend, and they're very impressive. I think the Iser plan is in full effect.
Casual.
What's that? Yeah, I just dropped it. There, just there. But hey, if you look at the way this team is playing, they're playing cohesively. And I don't know if it's an endorsement of the fact they got a new coach in there with Lalonde, but they have changed so many things about what ailed them in the past. They have been very good defensively, top 10 in goals against, top 10 in penalty kill. Is it a system thing? I don't think so. I think it's more a credit to the goaltending that they've gotten right now from Billy Husso. He's been outstanding. So it's a stabilizing factor. Bringing a guy like Ben Sherratt really helps that core, solidifies the D-core in the back end, relatively young. Up front, I think one of the most underestimated or undervalued moves of the season was bringing in Perron Kopp. Perron specifically has really helped Kubalik, a guy that, we're actually, there you go. I had trouble pronouncing his last name. It should tell you a lot about maybe the respect he's gotten. But you've gotten kind of a residual effect of so much attention paid to Perron on the power play and even 5-on-5, freed up some opportunities. So Kubalik being on his line on 5-on-5 has benefited, but specifically in the power play where Perron plays has helped the youth of Raymond and Seider, but more so Dylan Larkin, who's really upped his game, and Kubalik off the back end on the corner post on the power play, getting his opportunities. The output for these guys has clearly raised its productivity. So from the Detroit perspective, they're way ahead of the plan, way ahead of the curve of where we thought they'd be.
Really? To me, I look at this group and I think they're doing a little worse than I would have expected.
Oh, here we go with Shane. Naysayer. Sorry.
Well, okay. I mean, look, Kubalik was a great pickup for basically free, and I don't know why Chicago dropped him for nothing. I mean,
because they're Chicago.
Really bad asset management there.
Dylan Strome, Kirby Doc. They just waved goodbye to a whole bunch of guys.
We're feeling hard for Bedard, and here all these guys have got new opportunities across the league to really emerge and be where they're supposed to be.
At least they got something for Doc, but if we could leave Chicago for another day. But yes, this team has improved, but with the pieces they added, I'm actually a little surprised they haven't looked better at 5-on-5. To me, there's a lot of room for improvement, which could be a good thing, right? Seider, I don't think has been anywhere near as good as he was last season at 5-on-5. He's their worst defenseman by expected goal share. Raymond, another one, seems to be going through a sophomore slump. His 5-on-5 play isn't as good. So to me, yes, they've got a lot of guys out if they can come back and improve this group. But right now, I think they're getting carried a lot by their goaltending, and credit to Husso especially, who's been one of the best goalies by save percentage, by goals against average, but also by some of the more advanced stats. He's one of the best high danger save percentage goalies in the league. He's one of the best low danger save percentage goalies in the league. So he's not only stopping the pucks that he should be, but he's also making some saves he shouldn't be. And I think that actually tells the story of, why this team has been as good as they have been.
Well, so Shane, your question for you, though, is this, your evisceration of Raymond and Seider, is this a case of utilization? I mean, last year, as they're young, they're being utilized in a manner like, just go out and play. Now there's more there. There's more structure with a different coach, opportunity changes, utilization and situations change. We just touched on the fact that now Seider's not in a position of maybe being the guy that the puck goes through primarily. I mean, let's be honest, it seems like the puck finds itself to Perron the entire power play. Even though they're not a great power play, they look very cohesive, and it's really starting to catalyst his Perron. So maybe this is just a change in philosophy on utilization, and they'll have to adapt over time to their new role or their new opportunities and capitalize a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the special teams are a lot better. I'll say that. I shouldn't just say it's the goaltending. Yes, the special teams have improved a lot, and that's helpful. But if you want to make noise in the playoffs, and I think that's what this team is trying to do, you need good 5-on-5 play, because the opportunities on the power play are lessened in the playoffs. So if they want to be an effective playoff team, some of these guys who were really good and surprises last year with how good they were at 5-on-5 need to get back to that level. And again, to me, I think it's a compliment that we're sitting here and saying that Seider is underperforming his expectations. I mean, this is a guy who should win a Norris Trophy, at least one in his career. So like, he needs to get back to that level. I mean, that's going to be what pushes this group to be sustainable and not just have to rely on some hot goaltending and their penalty kill.
I think one of the things that the league has to account for, though, is after your first year, you're no longer a surprise. So if you call it a sophomore slump, I think the league readjusts to the fact that they know who these guys are now. So these players have to adapt to being recognized and being accounted for. When you go into a locker room pregame, Seider, the first year is, okay, it's a rookie, we'll figure it out, we'll watch. Now there's a body of work on video I'm sure they're preparing for that they have to account for. So young guys will have to step it up, change who they are a little bit, and we call it a sophomore slump. I just say, hey, the league knows and is not caught off guard anymore.
So when those guys, when Seider and Lucas Raymond and even Hronek, who's got 8 assists, no goals on the season so far from the back end, once the season progresses and these guys start to get into that flow and start to feel it a little bit more and are given more of an opportunity, how does that affect or could potentially affect the rest of the team's style? Is it going to just continue to improve them and maybe project them forward further, or does that mean more opportunity for these guys and perhaps less for the likes of Dominik Kubalik, for example?
I think honestly that there's still an acclimation point here. Like there's so much turnover. Look at this lineup compared to last year. You've got like so many young guys. Look at it. I think it's Rasmussen is in. He's playing a key role now. Kopp's in. You've got guys like it's not like there's a whole lot of the foundation that was carried over from last year. There's positives, but there's still an adjustment period for everybody. So the young guys, especially defensemen, having to understand, can you trust this guy in the defensive zone? What does he do in the offensive zone? How does he normally play in the neutral? Is he a post-up guy? Is he a comeback? There's so many components to how others play that the young guys on D have to adjust to that I think over time, with help of coaching and help of watching video and being more professional over time, will they understand exactly how to adapt to what they have on their team, and they'll adapt their game and adjust their game.
We hope. Because do keep in mind.
I hope. I mean, like I said, it's a positive place. I mean, if you would have said to Detroit coming into the season that they're going to be hovering around Tampa and New York in the standings, they would have taken it. You just wouldn't have known that. I mean, it's chaos in the Eastern Conference where teams are right now. It's like cannibalism. Everybody's eating everybody.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I'll just call out, one of the things we talk about in analytics is sample size, and one season is not a massive sample size. I mean, it's good, and it's good that Raymond and Seider and Hronek were, above expectations last year. But if this keeps going, you start to ask yourself a little bit, was last year an outlier and this is closer to what they are, or will they get back to that level? And I just don't know that we can give the answer yet.
Well, so this is basically Shane Kelly P on your parade for your team this episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Wardo taking the high road, Shane just pooping all over it. But so far, so good for the Detroit Red Wings. And look, this is a team that certainly has the tools, especially if those other guys can get going, to do some more damage this season. It's still early. We're not even at the quarter mark yet, but it's been good. And if you're a Red Wings fan, you're certainly pleased with what you're seeing. This has been Dirty Data with Aaron Ward and Shane Kelly. I'm Dave Pagnotta. We'll see you next time.